Last class we started with that intro part for transfer of property. Now, related to that, right? Like we discussed about conditions for valid transfer. So related to that, we have same. Like some provisions are similar. So we'll study that part. So next we have, so all these provisions, right? These were from section 54. Right now, section 54 has basically 4 different things: rights plus obligations, both for buyer plus seller. Everything is mentioned under one single section, section 55. Like there are different sub clauses if you look at the parent, but that's completely fine. You can simply mention section 55 provides for rights and obligations both for buyer and seller. So in the absence of a contract to the contrary, okay, the buyer and seller of immovable property are entitled to following rights and obligations. That means whatever rights and obligations are mentioned under section 55, these are like the very general or basic rights and obligations. Okay, in case buyer or seller wants to include some specific provisions, they can include that also, right? So if they want to include some specific provisions, specific rights, liabilities and stuff, they can mention that in the deed only. If they are not mentioning anything, it will be presumed that they are binding themselves under these obligations. All right, so that means like, like we don't, whatever these contracts or different types of deeds are, right, there would be like a standard template. Okay, if you go to any court, right, there would be different this like typing centers will be there. Okay, inside court there will be different this typing centers would be there. If you go there and you ask for any sort of contract, agreement, whatever, right, they will have like a basic set template. But that does not mean that only should be the template. If parties want, they can include extra provisions also. So what that template means, that template would have all these rights, obligations and stuff. If parties want, they can mention it. They can get those specific things also inserted. So if any specific rights or obligations you want to create, you need to mention that specifically in the contract. Otherwise, it would be presumed that you are just binding yourself under these obligations.
Okay. So whatever conditions which are silent in the agreement will replace with the this from section 55, correct?
Yeah, these are general things. Anyways, these would be applicable only to the parties.
In fact, nowadays, that they call it as a stamp vendors or people who are working there as a brokers. So they are better than some of the lawyers.
Yeah, they are like you, like used to it. 1 second only they would, okay, what name, what address, like so fast they are. They would prepare so many like things in a day.
Correct. So in fact, what happened recently, we had some transaction where we wanted such an agreement to be formed. So when I talking to a lawyer, he was telling, okay, I need at least a week's time. I will prepare that. I will do that. This and that. When I approached this fellow, he said, give me morning, in the afternoon it will be ready.
Not afternoon also. If you go there, no, they will make you sit next to them. They will be like, what address, what name, what this. 5 minutes only done. Everything
and
is.
We need not to say anything. Just give the documents. They know what to refer, what not to refer. Replace certain things and just give it. Standard one.
Hardly take 2 minutes.
Yeah, and you know how much they charge? About few thousands. But if I go to a lawyer, they'll charge 25,000 rupees.
Yeah, that
is also there.
That is true. Because they would get so many, right? Like as compared to a lawyer, you would get so many, because lawyers only would come to them. Normal people would come to them. So yeah, they have
practical knowledge.
Yes, without a law degree.
Correct. Even they are not even qualified. Forget about law degree. So they might have not even passed their class 10. Somehow with some, reference, they will be coming and sitting, having their office, because, the educated one cannot enter to that premises at all unless he has some network there, or any other person. For that matter. They will mint money. They will earn lot of money. That is the
Or
fate of India.
like everything is prepared, right? Just they need to take the printout and like get it done.
Correct. In no minute they will do everything, and they are, easily they earn about 10 to 20,000 every day.
Yes.
Right? And no tax is required to be payable, so not accountable for anything. This is I always say, in fact, to my students and to my friends and even my family, India is people who are in between, like a manufacturer and the retailer, and like supply chain. Then when it comes to any other products, like property, and then house buyers. Okay, so in between brokers, then and farmers and consumers, there are agents, APMC agents. So these are the people who are minting money without any efforts, and none of them would have not qualified more than 10th.
Yes.
Okay, but they are having a very lot of money, lot of money, and they have a property, everything.
That is right.
Unfortunate.
And they are earning more than these people on the other two sides. That is the thing.
True. That is true. That's unfortunate. We are only developing them. So why can't a farmer make an association in their village, and and then appoint somebody who takes care of this activity, something like that. People should come up, rather than they'll be crying on they are not getting the money, but they are not looking at the alternative ways how we should come out from that issues. Never.
That is
They never come out. Even if you even any other industry, especially distributors, they mint money like anything. Just holding a stock for some few hours or few days, they will earn money, very good money. They will be conducting a business in the name of wife, son-in-law, a daughter-in-law, everybody's name. They split business.
Even for like brokers and this consultancies also, I feel the same. Just in between, they are earning.
Correct. At least certain things like chartered accountants, lawyers, they require some skill set. Okay, so everyone cannot do the same thing, because situation changes, transaction will change. But in other areas, nothing. They are not giving any value addition. They are not giving any value addition. Without doing any value addition, they are earning money, huge money. That too.
That is right. Zero effort.
Yeah.
Okay, so rights and liabilities. So all these are from section 55 only, and this talks about rights plus liabilities of both seller and the buyer, and it talks about these things before as well as after the sale also. Okay, so what are these duties of seller? There are few duties. First of all, disclose to the buyer regarding any material defect which may be there in the property, and it may be something which the buyer will not be able to figure out himself, right? With that ordinary care which you take, maybe it is something which that person would not be able to come to know about it. So those things he need to tell to the buyer, right? Prospective buyer, he need to tell it. It might be that the person has taken some money from, not like a bank or something, but this like a money lender. Okay, he has taken some thing. So it might not be like a registered thing. They may have connection or something just by entering some informal sort of promise they may have taken. So those things, whatever it's not possible for the buyer to figure it out, those things they need to tell, right? If maybe there is some court case going on regarding it, like his title is not yet final. Two people are fighting regarding title of the property. It may be joint ownership, whatever it is, right? Those things need to be disclosed to the other person. To produce to the buyer on his request for examination all the documents relating to title. Like I think last class we saw that the buyer also needs to take the reasonable step. He also needs to ensure that whatever he is transacting, it's proper, like going to the registrar office, getting the documents verified and stuff. How that person will verify those documents? Only when he is given some, like survey number, khata number, this document, title deed, only when those things are provided to him, he would be able to verify those, right? So whatever those necessary documents are, those should be provided to him so that buyer can get those documents verified and stuff. Answer to the best of his information all the relevant questions which are being asked by the person. If buyer is asking, is your property A khata, B khata, whatever, he will have to tell, because those are certain things that the person would know. If someone is buying maybe a plot in some apartment, they would ask, have you got your occupancy certificate? Have you applied for the occupancy certificate? If you have applied, show me proofs. All those are like some basic questions wherein the person should reply to it properly, right? To the best of his knowledge. On payment or tender of the amount due in respect of the price to execute a proper conveyance of the property, like in order to get that process done, right, you would have the obligation of preparing the sale deed and all the other necessary stuff, right? When the person promises that, yes, I'm buying this property for so and so amount, then in that case, it needs to be done. Like the person will take that initiative of getting this conveyance of property done by executing a proper deed and everything. Now, there will be like a stage, right? Between date of contract to sale. We already saw, right? What is contract of sale? The process when they are yet to get it registered. Plus delivery of possession. Once it's done, registered, you are giving possession to the person. Between that, whatever is the time frame, you should not be like, okay, fine, I'm anyway selling my property, let the documents be wherever it is, right? You need to take care of those documents just like how you would take care of your own documents, right? So that is another obligation, that take care of the property plus all the documents relating to title, just like an ordinary prudent man would take care of his own property or documents. To give possession of the property, right? So when this process is done, the agreement is done and all that stuff, you need to hand over possession also. So there are, like in case there is any sort of like dispute between the parties, right? Like on paper, it's already being done, but owner is not transferring possession, right? In such cases, the buyer can file a case for specific performance of contract, right? Like under specific relief act, he can file a case that you need to hand over possession also, right? It's only not like on papers you are transferring, but you are only still residing there. So that should not happen. That is also an obligation. If it's not done, they can file a case under specific relief act also. So that is also an obligation. To pay all public charges, whatever is the obligation with regard to the property, all those obligations need to be cleared, right? All the payments, dues, whatever it is, you need to make those payments before you are transferring it to the other person. But there may be a condition where seller may say that, yes, I do have these obligations, I have not paid the property tax, this, that, but I'm not doing it, you do it on my behalf, right? There may be such a condition, such an agreement. In that case, what happens? Seller needs to disclose regarding whatever payments are to be done, whatever public charges are yet to be cleared, right? And accordingly, buyer would deduct that amount from the like this price that he is paying for the property, right? He would deduct that amount and buyer can also get it done. So this is also like a special provision, right? Like special thing which you need to mention in the agreement. Otherwise, it would be assumed that everything is cleared from both the parties, right? So that also is an obligation, that whatever liabilities are there, you either clear it or disclose to the other person and agree that this person is going to clear those obligations on your behalf. That is also another thing that we have, obligation. Where the whole
sorry, can you repeat point number F once again?
Okay, so point number F, to give. Okay, did I miss this point?
Somehow I couldn't get.
I think I missed it. Okay, so to give on being required, the buyer or such person as he directs such possession of the property as its nature admits. That means in the agreement, right? If they had said, okay, fine, once the like amount is cleared, only after that I am giving possession. How am I giving possession? Maybe I would give it to this person's, like the person is making the payment, but property will be transferred to his wife, right? Whatever it is, whatever they have agreed. Based on that, they need to transfer possession also, right? Once the agreement is completed, they need to transfer owner possession also. How it will be done? Whatever is written in the contract, right? If they have said after complete payment is done, I will give possession, that will be done. If they are saying to whoever is paying the money, that only I will give possession, same thing. If they are saying I am making payment, but you give the property to my wife, that is also fine. Whatever they have agreed, basically, just the thing is that you need to give possession, right? It may be to the buyer or some other person as he directs, whatever it is. Right? So this again will be dependent on what is the agreement between those persons. Next one is where the whole of the purchase money has been paid to the seller, he is also bound to deliver to the buyer all the documents, right? Once the transfer and everything is done, seller will hand over all the property documents to the buyer. All right. Now there are certain exceptions. Sometimes it may happen that like 2-3 people are buying the property. So in that case, like some documents may be given to one person, some documents to the other, but whoever has bought majority of the portion, right, to that person, finally everything will be handed over. Like all the property documents would be given to that person. If other people wants to get copies of it, some reference, they will have a right to claim that from that owner. Okay, so basically here you can remember that once transfer is done, you should not be holding the property documents with you, right? The other person has a right, so you get everything transferred to that person only. And before that stage, whatever is it, you need to take care of these documents also, you need to take care of the property also, whatever you would otherwise do if it was your property still. Right? Is it clear, or any point you want to be repeated?
Yes, madam, clear.
So basically, you would disclose any defect that is there, which may be something you cannot find out with your own reasonable care, like the investigation and stuff that needs to be told. You have, if you are asking for the property documents, any other information that should be given so that you can get the examination done. Whatever question you are asking, they need to give proper answers regarding it. Whatever is the process needed to get the sale done, that needs to be initiated by the seller. And during the stage of contracting and finally the property getting transferred, you need to take care of the property plus the documents. So you need to give possession of the property once the agreement is finalized, once the sale is completed. You need to clear all the charges that are due. If not, you need to inform the buyer regarding the charges, and accordingly, you need to settle the matter. Where the purchase money has been completely paid, all the property documents you need to give to the buyer.